Okay, there we go. Okay, team, welcome to this evening's webinar. I just want to say thanks to everyone for coming. It's a real honour to kind of speak to these two people regarding B Corps and on B Corps Month. So tonight we're going to be hearing from Rory Atton from dewerstone, and they're an outdoor lifestyle clothing brand. And we're going to be hearing from Ben Longhurst, who's one of the founders and owners of the Water Skills Academy. So how we're going to start, we're going to hear a little bit from Rory, and then we're going to hear a little bit from Ben. And in the meantime, if you've got any questions at all, you can either pop them in the chat or you can pop them in the Q&A. If you want to ask, if you've got a specific question for somebody, please state their name beforehand. And then what we'll try and do, we'll try and get through them all, and we'll put those questions to Ben and Rory. Okay, so we're going to kick off with Rory. So Rory, if you want to.
Sure, yeah, thanks for having me. My name is Rory. I started dewerstone 8 years ago now. dewerstone's an outdoor lifestyle brand based down in Dartmoor National Park. We've been B Corp since January this year. Prior to that, we're part of 1% for the Planet. We're climate neutral certified. We're a living wage employer. And we're really excited to get on the B Corp journey.
Thanks, Rory. Hi, I'm Ben, one of the founders and directors of the Water Skills Academy, training organisation, and we think we're the only training organisation which is a B Corp. Founded in 2014, I think it was, and we're been a B Corp for about just over 2 years now. So it's been been a while. Obviously, with the pandemic and stuff, we're a bit quiet, but we've been for a couple of years. So yeah, all good. Looking forward to this evening's chat.
Okay, so Rory, do you want to tell us a little bit why you wanted to go for B Corp status, and what it means to you and you as a company as well?
Yeah, for sure. So a B Corp, in short, is a business that meets the highest standards of social and environmental impact, and it's a commitment to using business as a force for good. And that second sentence is where I kind of came out from. And I keep telling people that for me, it's a lifetime commitment to responsible business. So whatever happens next in the dewerstone journey, no matter how big we get, or how many stores we open, or how many wholesale accounts we get, or products that we bring out, because we're a B Corp now, every decision we make will be running through that B Corp process. And so whatever happens to the future of the company and the products that we do, is that it will all be done with the B Corp values in mind. So we will grow responsibly. We will open new stores responsibly. We'll bring in new staff and new products responsibly. And that really is that kind of, it's a lifetime commitment to responsible business.
Ben, where do you stand on that? Is that?
Yeah, it's very, very much the same for us, really. Dan, I guess being quite a bold statement, we wanted to examine everything that we were doing in terms of a lot of bold statements from people out there. We're educators, we're training people and educating people to go into the outdoors, into the outdoor environment, and work or play. And that was from an environmental impact point of view, that was always part of our courses, but we wanted to look sort of back at ourselves and think, well, are we doing the right thing throughout the process? And like Rory says, that can be from, how much you pay, where you go, where you put your money, where you buy your kit from, right across the board. So I guess it's a really close examination of everything you do in business operation, not just sort of a token gesture to or we only buy eco kit or whatever. It dives a lot deeper into the whole business process, and also probably some people may not know, makes it legal as well. So you write that into your articles that's what you're going to do. So like Rory says, everything we do from the moment prior, but obviously from the moment you become a B Corp, is examined, and every decision that you make reflects your responsibility of being a B Corp and the processes that got you there.
Fantastic. Rory, can you tell us a little bit about the process of becoming a B Corp organisation?
Yes. So there's this amazing tool called the B Impact Assessment, which basically is this kind of like online workbook questionnaire that covers the 5 different areas of B Corp certification. And those 5 areas are governance, workers, community, environment, and customers. And so you work through this B Impact Assessment, which is a totally free, amazing tool. And you kind of see where your business is at as you're going through it, and you get a kind of a score. And that score is based on a maximum of 200, where 80 points are needed to pass and become a certified B Corp. And the average business would score around 50 points. And again, the next part of that, in addition to the scoring, is the change to the legal framework, where the company commits to legally protecting their mission and to being a benefit on society and the environment. But that B Impact Assessment is, it's totally free. Anybody can sign up to it, and you can start using it as a framework for what your business has done and what it wants to do in the future. And probably one of the important things about the assessment is that it is based on what you have done. It's not about, saying we are going to do this in the future, therefore we should be a B Corp. It is, we have already done this in the last 12 months. And that's probably one of the biggest changes, biggest differences, is that, B Corps have probably spend a year, maybe more, becoming a better business before they get their certification. And that's why it's such a powerful accreditation.
Ben, have you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think if people on tonight, if they're thinking about, if they're on tonight to think about, I'll give this a go or become a B Corp, then like Roy says, there's a long process. It's not like you can get it by Friday. It took us it was over 24 months of work, and I was hands up, as a little bit naive going into it, thinking, yeah, we do a really good job anyway. We're a small organization, we do things correctly. And it exposed some stuff that we were doing really badly, whether that be where we were banking, to where we were maybe buying some of our merchandise from, for example. So yeah, it is a really interesting, tough, sort of sobering process to go through. And even if, like Roy said, the tool is amazing. So even if you're not thinking of ever getting over the line to be a B Corp, if you want to have a good look at what you're doing, your business, then I think just start it and see how you get on. It's a good awakening to running any size business, I think.
Yeah, and I think I would add to that in that, when we started the impact assessment, there were things that we were sort of very much like, oh, we can bring in that policy. And, as a small business, it's actually quite easy to write a policy and bring it in. But there's a difference between being sat there saying we can do it and then actually writing that policy and putting it in your employee handbook. And that's where the impact, assessment is amazing, because that one small action of writing, say, a policy for volunteer days changed our business. We became a better business by writing that one policy. So if we only did that part of the assessment, we're a better business without even getting through the whole certification. We've just improved one area. And I think that's why the impact assessment is so good, because it allows, so many little improvements as you go, that you're a better business just by working your way through that and bringing in some changes, even if it means just writing down things that you have never written down before. it brings structure to the business.
Nice. So if anybody's like, I will keep reminding people, if you have got a question, please kind of put it in there. We've been asked if it's possible to share a link to that assessment, impact assessment. So we'll try and get some links in the chat so people can get to that as well. What kind of, so obviously going to B Corp, what kind of, is there assistance out there outside of the impact assessment? Do B Corp as a kind of help you through the process? I'll give that to Ben.
Yeah, I mean, I guess sort of maybe we were kind of, WSA, we kind of launched into it on our own, and so did quite a bit of stuff, left it, came back to it, did a little bit more, came back to it. The tool that you use is pretty easy and straightforward, even for someone like me. But you can either do it on your own, or there is help out there. If you want to go down that route, there's a group called B Leaders, and they can help you through the process. It really, I think it really depends on your organization, how you work, and what your sort of background is. But for us, I think one of the most beneficial things was doing it on our own, and it really made us stop and think at every point. It wasn't a case of someone saying to us, well, you could do that now, you could do this. Kind of had to figure it out ourselves. And one of the simplest things that you could say was, like, at the time we were banking with Barclays, and we scored really low on that just because of their ethics. And then we were looking for an ethical bank, if you like. We ended up banking with Triodos. But the process of looking and searching, seeing what other banks are available, what those banks stood for, and then that process of changing and committing to that change, because we're a small organization, was quite refreshing to be able to do that. And once we'd done it, it felt pretty good to have sort of said, cheerio Barclays, hello Triodos, and then that changed. This was obviously pre us getting awarded the status. So it was things like that are a really good way of doing it, I think.
Stephen Moore's got a question. He said, is there a minimum amount of employees required or a business size?
I don't think there is. I don't think there is. I think it's aimed to be as good for small businesses as it is for big businesses, and that goes for employees too.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. And then it comes in sort of sizes, really, of your business or organization. I think some of the points are quite tricky because they're set for big business, and it's quite hard to answer. Like we have a virtual office, we do hardly any printing. It basically is down at home. And then when people talk about, water usage, waste, all that we became quite tricky. But again, it's one of those things that we sort of navigated our way through. And, it even gave us some key points just to look at, even from a small office in someone's house. So, no is the answer, no size. But again, it's a really useful process.
So we've got a question coming in, and the question is, what business benefits have you seen since becoming a B Corp? That's to anyone. Rory,
Go on, Rory.
I mean, honestly, I think this is a prime example of what we're doing right now. I knew a little bit about Water Skills Academy, but by seeing they had their B Corp status, I knew so much about them as a business without even really knowing too much about them. So by, being able to link up with other businesses because you share some of the same values, I think is quite cool. One of the things that I found when I was, going through the assessment is that if I message someone from a B Corp or a business from a B Corp with a question, they got back to me. And that means that it matters, it matters to that person. And, I met up with a couple of people who had businesses that were B Corps, and I asked them questions. And one thing that I really found was that they all had time for me. And I think that's the same as what I'm finding now, is that, if you want to be a B, if you're a B Corp, you want to be a B Corp, you're, the leaders in that business, it matters to them. And it matters that more businesses become B Corps. It's not a, it's, yes, it is. In many ways, it is a bit like a club because the businesses do work together, but it is all about B Corps trying to get other businesses to become B Corps, because the more B Corps there are in the world, the better the world's going to be. So, and then from, we've only been a B Corp since January. We've already done things with Water Skills Academy, with TYF Adventure, with Vita Coco, there's a B Corp shop in London right now in Soho that's just open for B Corp month, and we're in it. And these, there's just tons of opportunities that have came along straight away. But I think, more importantly, we became B Corp because it mattered to me and it mattered to the people that worked for dewerstone.
Yeah, kind of echo again what Rory says. If you're looking to partner with someone over a particular event or opportunity, I know Dave's on the call. Paddle Logger is a prime example. Paddle Logger B Corp, so you automatically know what they've been through, what they stand for, and the process that they follow. So going into a partnership or co-branding or anything like that, you kind of don't have to ask those maybe some awkward questions. It's pretty good and pretty straightforward. Another sort of small example was, right down to mugs that we were buying for a small expedition that we were running with some clients. I just wanted to make sure that we were sourcing correctly. Again, just went onto the B Corp directory, found there was no questions to be asked. We just bought from that company, and we asked them a few questions, and they were like, "Oh, you're a B Corp as well," and it started a whole new process. But also talking and encouraging other people. Like we buy our staff uniform from a tiny company down in West Wales. It's a one-person operation, and we've chatted with him at length before he ended up buying, the inks he was using, where he was sourcing his stuff from, etc., etc. And in turn, he started a B Corp journey. So yeah, it's really it's kind of infectious, if you like.
So we've got a question from Anonymous. It says, the B Corp framework is epic, really strong and really powerful as a tool to become a B Corp, no denying that. However, do you feel the auditing process of actually being a named B Corp really makes sure you make better business decisions? If you already believe in the sustainable process, as you have stated, it is from a lifelong point of view. Surely you already make better decisions. If that is the case, I'm interested to know where the value is in becoming a rubber stamped B Corp as opposed to an above 80 scoring business. That's an open question. If anyone's got anything to kind of...
I think on that, you're absolutely right in that you already believe in the sustainable processes and that you already make better decisions because B Corp is reflective. It's what you have done in the last 12 months. It's not what you're going to do. It's not, I'm going to be more sustainable. It's, we're already more sustainable or responsible, or, you've already done those things. So from that point of view, I think you could say that, you can already make great decisions. You can take into account people, planet, profit, and you can not become a certified B Corp. You could work through the B impact assessment and no doubt find ways to improve without ever fully going on to certify. But yeah, I think you're right. The people who go for the B Corp already have those values and already live by them. I'm not super sure I understand the last part of that sentence. I'm interested to know where the value is in becoming a rubber stamp B Corp as opposed to an above 80 scoring business. I might need some more explanation on that, but just
if the chat wants to clarify what you want, what they mean by that. Leading on, then, it's a really simple but an obvious question. How much does it cost to become B Corp?
When you're going through your assessment, it costs nothing. The impact assessment costs absolutely nothing. So you can get all the knowledge, all that kind of impact assessment goodness, all the guidance in there. That is all absolutely free. It costs money when you submit for certification, and then it is based on, and then there's a yearly fee based on the size of your business. In reality, in comparison to turnover, it's a really low amount. I think it's all available on the B Corp website. But the most important thing there is the impact assessment is completely free. All the knowledge is completely free. It just costs your time.
Does the submission and the annual cost differ depending on the company, or is it a fixed price?
Yeah, it depends on size of organization, business. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Martin Rendell has asked, can you tell us when B Corp started and who were the founders? Do we know?
You going, Rory?
I don't know. I'd have to Google that one.
Well, I just basically popped out one of Yvonne Chenard's Patagonia's brainchilds, I think, and came out just to look at if anyone's read the book by, I think it was Rick Ridgway, The Sustainable Company. I think it sort of stemmed from that it was a deeper dive into looking into business practice and how that can affect the people and the planet. So yeah, really if you haven't read those two books, then Let My People Go Surfing and The Responsible Company, Yvonne Chenard and Rick Ridgway, then I definitely suggest those two. Certainly changed the course of a lot of things that Water Skills Academy do and other businesses that we're associated with. So yeah,
we've got a clarifying statement. They're saying, interested to know where the value is in paying for you are a definite B Corp audited by B Corp rather than just going through the impact assessment and scoring above 80. So that was them clarifying that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think for me on that one, going through that impact assessment takes time, takes effort, and actually the financial cost of paying to get your certification at the end is actually quite minimal. But for me, it's the benefits of having a way to communicate what we're doing as a business and having a avenue to interact with other businesses that share like-minded missions and values.
Okay.
I think it's worth adding on that, Dan, that you've done the legwork to get, once you pop out with that score, and it took us a while to get there. It wasn't like a first try, we had to go back and review a lot of stuff we were doing to get that score. And it's, once you've got it, that's not it for life. You have a review and you've still got to, perform. And as your organization or your business grows, like Rory said earlier on, those decisions that you make have got to be, along the lines of, or aligned with your values and the processes. So you can't sort of, think, right, I've scored this, now I can go off and do what I want. It's, it's written into your articles of business. that goes off the company's house. In terms of the process to get to that score, I think that's where the money comes in, because it's a lot of time, and it might involve a lot of change, or the way the way you are currently operating. So the money is not a big thing. It's not expensive, to the end certification. So I think that, in all honesty, I don't think you can put a price on it. It's invaluable. It's been invaluable to us as an organization.
Cool. We've got another question here. Where does B Corp sit with other certifications like ISO?
I don't think it does. Simply, I think it's. I don't know. I mean, I've not done I don't think, from what I know of ISO, I don't think it goes anywhere near into the examination of your business practice as B Corp does. I might be totally wrong, but I don't think I am.
Yeah, I think there might be a couple of maybe ISO standards that have some impact on it, but again, it'd be a small part of an overlapping thing. One thing it does share a lot with is the UN Sustainable Development Goals. There's a lot of overlap from them into the B Corp in the impact assessment. And I've, quite often in the impact assessment, you might have a question on, say, water usage, and then that links directly into a UN Sustainable Development Goal. There's quite a few of those throughout the whole thing, so that's probably the biggest overlap, I would say.
Okay, we've got a question. I'm just double checking I've answered this. Have you found consumer awareness around B Corp? Did I ask that already, or is that? So that's both people.
Sorry, I'm just putting a link in the thing about the book I just mentioned. Sorry, what was that, Dan? The last question?
Have you found consumer awareness around B Corp?
For us as an training organization, I think there is some awareness, but not massively. Maybe it's because we don't shout about it a lot. But I think people are slowly learning as more and more larger organizations, companies come on as B Corps. And I think, there are some obvious ones, Ben & Jerry's ice cream, Patagonia. I know some big brands in the UK have spoken with them about becoming it, and it's a good journey. So I think the more and more people become B Corps, not just within our industry, within the outdoor industry, whether that be training or apparel, or I think things will become higher profile then, if you like.
Okay. Rory?
Yeah, I think similar in that, people are becoming more aware of what it is. They're seeing it they're seeing the B Corp logo in places that we go to every day. Supermarkets now, some of them right now have B Corp sections. I think WH Smith and Waitrose, they've all got B Corp sections, and that might not just be for B Corp month. It's gaining big weight in the food and beverage industry. So, that's things people see every day. It's on the back of cans, and it's, and then for us in the outdoor industry, we've got a couple of great UK brands. We've got Finisterre, we've got Alpkit, who have both gone through B Corp certification. There's obviously Patagonia. And then there's, we stock a couple of brands in our stores. So we've got Clean Canteen and Keep Cup. They're both B Corp. It is getting picked up now, and people are becoming more aware of it for sure.
We've got Rebecca who's kind of put something in about that question. Where did it start? And it says, The movement originated in the USA by 3 people who embedded their sustainable principles into the business, but realized their hard work disappeared when they grew and were bought. The movement was then started to challenge traditional business model to ensure that regardless how the business changes, the sustainability practices remain. Be leader, she says, little smiley face. So thanks for that, Rebecca. Keep those questions coming, guys. Have we got any more questions? Does with being a B Corp, are there annual checks? Do you have to? Are you kind of almost policed to make sure that you are sticking to those promises?
Do you want to go, Rory?
Yeah, so there's a recertification every 3 years. So in just under 3 years' time, we'll be doing ours. In a year's time, you'll be doing yours.
Yeah.
And it's again, it comes down to what it's not what you're going to do, it's what you have done. So in 3 years' time, we need to be making sure we've done all those things that we've continued to do over the last 12 months, because you go through the entire process again. There's no shortcuts. There's no golden handshake or anything. You have to redo it, I believe, from scratch and prove that you are still worthy of your B Corp certification.
Yeah, and I think like we were saying earlier, as an organization grows or changes for whatever reason, we made a change about 12 months ago in directorship, and we knew that change would certainly affect how we rescore or go through that process in a year's time. So we didn't take that decision lightly, but at the time it was the right thing to do. And the change was basically we had a 50% male-female directorship, and we needed to change that for various reasons outside. So that's gone to the 2 directors, 2 males, and that not having female involvement in directorship knocks us on a score, and we knew that, and it was as I say, it was a tough decision to make, but for the time and the reasoning, we had to make that. So yeah, it's something we'll have to look at again. So it's things like that. Every decision, like Roy said earlier on, like almost every decision you make, kind of right second guess, is that correct? Are we following our principles and the guidance, if you like, that is set out?
Cool. Mark Lloyd's got a question. So what do you think the biggest blocker for small businesses wanting to certify against actually doing it?
Personally, I think it's time, and I think you've got to dedicate enough time to be able to go through the process correctly and thoroughly. It's not, there are no shortcuts. There are no, we'll just do that, we'll just write that, and that's not how it is. It's as Roy said, it's your operation now, and I think the reason why it took us so long was because we couldn't dedicate someone to it fully for a period of time. It was dipping in and out when we could, and I think that was probably the biggest blocker. But that said, when we kind of took it in chunks, and each chunk that we did, or each section that we went through, was really enlightening on how we were operating, and the changes we either were happy, things we were happy with, or things we needed to change. And we kind of approached it that way, rather than I'm going to get this done within 12 months or whatever.
Rory, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, and I think knowing where to start, it's when you first open up the impact assessment, when you start reading about it, it just seems like there is so much to do. And I think I sort of have 2 trains of thought on this. One, It's just slowly work your way through it, tackle it one question at a time, and make sure you watch all the videos on how, the impact assessment works, and, do a bit of a first pass and then come back to it. And the other option would be is sort of, perhaps think about some of the other things out there. We're both Water Skills Academy and dewerstone are both members of 1% for the Planet. And that is, that for us was kind of our probably the first stepping stone on our B Corp journey was going through 1% for the Planet and joining that, because that's something we believed in. And then actually that's now formed part of what we do as a B Corp. There's too many B Corps that are also 1% for the Planet members to mention. So I think there's that way of kind of, finding your stepping stone to getting there, or, just jump straight in there, get into the impact assessment, give it a first pass, and then just start firing questions out to people. But it is going to take you some time.
What would be, I know Ben said, 24 months, like 2 years, but is there an average time that it takes to kind of get through this, or is that just all dependent on the amount of hours you've got? And I imagine obviously running your own business, those hours are very limited.
Don't use me as a benchmark for time. You could probably get it done a lot quicker. I think probably do some research that way. I mean, have a chat maybe afterwards with Rory, or phone or get hold of some other B Corp, see how long it took them in terms of your size of operation. And also, like I said earlier on, there are B leaders available that can help you and guide you in the in the right direction. So it's all a positive experience. But yeah, don't use me. I mean, I'm not sure how long it took you, Rory. Probably a lot quicker.
About 24 months. Yeah, I think I think we've classed it as a year of thinking about it, and then a year of actually doing it. And that's not working 40 hours a week for a year. The certification process takes a long time. You've got to get through the impact assessment. You've then got to submit it. You're then waiting for it to be verified. Then the verification is phenomenal. You have to provide all kinds of evidence to back up what you've done. At no point can you just say, oh yeah, we did this. They will want proof of it. You will have to prove it. When it comes down to any kind of financial giving, it is to the last penny. You have to prove it. There's no two ways about it. So I think, a year of thinking about it, and then learning, going to as many kind of B Corp webinars as possible, getting, and sort of doing those first couple of passes of the impact assessment, learning about the questions, and then a year to kind of knuckle down, 3 or 4 months to work through the impact assessment and make any changes to the business, and then getting into that certification and assessment queue.
Have you got any, outside of obviously just the web, outside of the B Corp's website, is a place you could advise people to go that you found helpful on your journey? In terms of other websites, like you did mention webinars, is there easy access to that kind of information to support a person taking that B Corp's journey?
I think other B Corps are probably a good port of call. I think they know what it takes and know what they've been through, whatever size you are. So that would be my advice. Again, it's really well laid out, good information on the site, and opportunities to, source more information, chat with other people.
I'm part of this thing called the Better Business Network, which is a bit of a business networking kind of mentoring, kind of a bit of every sort of bit of social businessy stuff. And they've got a great B Corp section, and there's a couple of B leaders as part of that. And whilst they kind of built that out as I'd kind of gone through the assessment already. There is a wealth of information within what they do. That's called the Better Business Network. I'll put a link up to that on there. But you know, YouTube, you can learn absolutely anything on YouTube, and you know, learning, you know, how to become a B Corp is one of those things.
Fantastic. There is a Facebook page. There's always a Facebook page to go there. So there is a Facebook group, BCorps Feeding BCorps. I think we'll try and get that up in the chat. And we'll pop that. We'll try and pop that up for people as well. Any more questions, guys? Keep them coming. Oh, thanks, Rory.
Thanks, Rebecca. Yeah.
Any more questions, guys?
I've got a question, which is, I already know the answer, but I think it's quite a nice one. So we're obviously both members of 1% for the Planet as well. Would you not just, how do you find those other accreditations fit in, and did they help you on your assessment journey?
I think, yeah, we probably the same as you, Roy, that we signed up really early to 1% for the Planet before we headed off down the B Corp certification route. And that was because, again, it was kind of like what our values were, and making that, I guess, statement that we're not just in it for making money or whatever. It was part of giving back. And I think doing that, and again, that's something else that we processed, that we learned about as well. It wasn't just you give 1%. If people don't know, it's 1% of revenue that you give. It's not profit. It's revenue. So you kind of know that's coming at a certain time of the year, and it does give you a nice feeling when you hand it over. But knowing that process as well, because we thought you were just giving 1% to 1% for the Planet, but you get to choose who you give your donation to. For want of a better word, and then also finding out that you can donate time in that. You can do a lot more. You can do a lot more than just handing over some cash at the end of the year. And what that did as well was, at the moment we give to Surfers Against, we can split it. So we give 50% or half of that 1% to Surfers Against Sewage, and half to Save Our Rivers. And we chose those two organizations, those NGOs, for particular reasons. So it allows us to help two NGOs, not just one. And we learned a lot from them. They gave back or still give, especially Save Our Rivers, so small. They give us so much good advice and knowledge. It really helps us in our own business as well, in terms of who we support, and education on questions that we get asked about free flowing rivers around the world, what's happening in this country. So yeah, really positive things. Even if you don't go think B Corp's not for me, which it is, the 1%, 1% for the Planet is a really good way of, making a stand, I guess.
And what I love about 1% for the Planet is, it's like, we are going to do this from right now. So, you could finish this webinar, you could be a signed up member of 1% for the Planet within half an hour of finishing this, probably even within 10 minutes. And that, actually that could be your first stepping stone into becoming a, more responsible business, or a business that supports sustainability in the environment. And I'd say that actually, 1% for the Planet did help us. I just spotted David's comment about helping it fulfilling part of the 2% required charitable donations for most businesses. That's great if you give 2%. I don't think you need to give 2%. I think by giving 2%, that unlocks a part of the impact assessment, but you can give less than 2%. Although we gave 2.24% last year. But 1%, yeah, by being part of 1% for the planet, it does help part of the impact assessment. And we really found that so we're climate neutral certified, which means we measure our entire carbon footprint. We have a hefty reduction plan in place, and then we offset, anything that's left. And that means we have a lot of data and a lot of statistics around kind of what's happening for us with carbon. And that meant actually that really complemented the B Corp, because we managed to, get through a section that is quite tough, because we had that information to hand because of this other accreditation. The same could be said for, if you're a living wage foundation employer, that ticks some boxes straight away in that B Corp impact assessment. So those accreditations can really work with each other, and that probably for us helped pave our way into B Corp, because we already had 1% climate neutral living wage before we went into the impact assessment, and that definitely helped steer us to some points straight away.
Yeah, and I think probably worth adding just on the 1% is that even if you're a micro business, you're a small surf sub school, and you think, well, I'm not going to make a difference giving them, any of my 1% of my revenue because it's tiny. Well, it does make an impact, because the first year we gave money, financial help, it was minuscule, and both organizations turned around and we were like a bit embarrassed, to be honest. And they said, no, it's amazing. Thank you very much. And we've had tremendous support from them since. So I'd encourage you to, start by doing that.
We've been asked, is it possible to see the list of B Corp companies if you are not already one?
Yes.
Yeah.
B Corp directory, and that shows you all the businesses in the world that are B Corp, and you can jump in there and search by country and things like that. I'll pop it in.
Thanks. Alistair asks, what is the hardest part about being a B Corp? Either one of you.
I think when you've been through the assessment, I think you're really well educated on like what you're doing and any decisions that you make, what impact that'll have. And it's, I wouldn't call it a set of rules, is wrong really, but parameters to work within, and just makes you question every decision that you, or the majority of decisions that you make. And I think, and at times that can be really hard. You might need to make a decision for, financially or whatever. And that, to be sort of drawn back in from going off down one road because it's not the right road, that may be the hardest thing for us at times. So yeah, that would be, I think that's probably the main thing.
Let's have a look. Mark, is a company setup scored, i.e. if you are limited, social enterprise, social trader, etc.? So is it how you are set up as a company scored?
I'm not sure on that, Rory. I know Rebecca, the B leader's on the webinar as well. So
yeah, I think on this one, a B Corp is a for-profit company, which counts out social enterprise, I think. So no, you can't be a charity and be a B Corp, I don't think. I've got a feeling it is for limited companies, but I think I think you have to Google that one.
Good old Google.
Yeah, that should come up pretty quickly.
Okay, we've got someone asking, 1% is asking revenue in dollars. Have I got the right website? Is it international?
Yeah, it's international. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you have
Million
to.
pounds.
Dollars.
Any more? We got any more for any more? Oh, here we go. Oh no, that's just someone saying they're leaving. But they've said thank you very much. It's really interesting. Fantastic. Any more questions, guys?
There's one in the chat.
Let's have a look. I'm looking there now. I can't see anymore. Can you see, Rory? If you can read it out. I can't see it unless you've got it.
Yeah, it says after getting certified, does anything change day to day for your staff? Do they have to act differently, and how do you implement those changes?
I think that one's for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. I think, you know, going back to that kind of, it's based on what you have done, not what you're going to do. So, you know, any changes that were needed to be made have already been made in your organization as part of going through that process in your previous 12 months. I think something that we have struggled with is, you know, once we were certified, how did we communicate that we were now a B Corp and what a B Corp was, not only kind of to the outside world, but how do we communicate that internally? You know, and you may have, you know, a couple of us, myself and Jane, that did the assessment. And we know a lot about B Corp because we did the assessment ourselves, but we didn't always communicate what we were doing to everybody in the business. And there's definitely, you know, real scope for kind of internal training on what a B Corp is and what it means. At the same time, you know, when you certify, you join this, like a bit like Slack, but it's just for B Corps, and it's called the Beehive, and all your employees can join the Beehive and they all have access to it, and it's all kinds of resources. There's groups on there that are, you know, from finance directors in the UK through to marketing team in Venezuela. You know, there's all kinds of different groups in there, and then people can engage. And it also means that anybody who works for your organization can reach out to other people from other B Corps through the Beehive. But yeah, it's definitely tough to communicate kind of both internally and externally. That's something that we're learning. But again, you know, we only certified in January. You know, B Corp certifies that we're in it for the long haul, and it is going to take some time to communicate those messages.
I think on that, it doesn't, just because you score correctly, get certified, doesn't mean to say that all areas of the organization of business are perfect and, you know, high scoring, if you like. You know, there's always areas to improve on and bring, you know, if you use it as scoring, just bring that score up. So you don't sort of pop out perfect. It's, you know, the process continues, and you still have to, you know, work hard in the other areas that you might have fallen short of. So yeah, it's not, you know, you don't just relax after the certification.
Oh, got another one come in. Let's have a look. Rebecca. Also, it's important to know that to be eligible for full B Corp certification, you need to have been trading for more than 1 year. This is because you need at least 1 year's worth of data to report against. If you're in the first year of trading, you're eligible for pending B Corp status. And she's happy to chat. So if you can all see, there's an email there, Rebecca at rljconsulting.co.uk. So if you've got questions, then fire them over to Rebecca. She's really happy to help and obviously support you in your journey to becoming a B Corp.
Yes, I know Rebecca's a B leader, so thanks for jumping on the call. And also his partner, I'm pretty sure, involved with Paddle Logger, another B Corp, so certainly knows the process and you know, is fully aware of the what's going on. So
got another question. How do you go about evaluating impact of suppliers you work with?
I think a good one here is, it's obviously not always possible, but to a certain extent, buy from other B Corps. So as a small example, in the shop we stock a few various brands. I think we touched on this earlier, but Clean Canteen, Keep Cup, both B Corp. And then our coffee for the shop comes from a importer that is B Corp certified. So a bit further down the chain than the roastery, but we know the importer before there is a B Corp. And then there are all kinds of measures within the impact assessment to give you the tools for you to audit suppliers where perhaps you're using a factory direct, and ways to reach out to them, which is quite a full-on section. But in short, and buy from other B Corps.
Yeah, a little bit different for us because we're not sourcing materials like dewerstone are. So, but yeah, simple answer is, we look at other B Corps to, buy from, whether that be, mugs for an expedition, or, clothing for staff, or, being associated with, a family brand, or, family-owned business who may be trying or going through the process of becoming a B Corp. It's that's also important to us, because you can't obviously source stuff all the time from a B Corp. So, but what it does do, I think, and that the question has just done it, is raise the it's just raised the issue of, right, where are we buying those t-shirts from? Where are we, where am I buying those paddleboards from? Or so, yeah, it is the question in itself gets you thinking.
Does that make it harder for you to run the business, do you think, being a B Corp?
I think it helps you run it better. The impact assessment gives you the toolkit to be able to reach out to suppliers, whether you work with them already or not, and sort of guides you on the things that you should be finding out if you're not finding out something already, and the things that are important. And again, it comes back to that interlinking between B Corp and the UN sustainable goals. There's a lot of overlap in there, and they're very much related to those. The impact assessment is very much related to those, and there's a big supplier section in there.
Fantastic.
And also, I think encouraging people who aren't B Corps. We work with one quite big organisation or business that support us, and we do a little bit of work back and forth, and it's raising that question, having that discussion with them. They're very the one company is very transparent in where they source their materials, run their factories, how they run their factories. So it's having that, being able to chat, we're tiny in comparison to this business, being able to chat with them about the process, how to start, have they thought about it, when are they going to do it, is really important as well. So
cool. Okay, unless there's any more question, guys, we've kind of come to the end. Is that it? No more questions? All right, fantastic. Okay, so just want to thank everyone for coming. A massive thank you to Ben and Rory. So as you probably heard in the beginning of the chat, I've just discovered some new retail happiness there. Thanks Rory. I'm sure my wife will be thanking you. So yeah, really appreciate everyone coming on. We've shared a link to the Facebook group, so if you've got questions, you can go there. Obviously, Rebecca's really happy to answer any questions that you've got, and yeah, so we wish you luck on your journey towards B Corps, and get in touch if you need anything. We're happy to help always, and enjoy the rest of your evenings. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers, Rory.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, mate.
Bye.
Bye.